All right, guys, it's time to wrap up June. This is very late. We're towards the end of July, but I was never able to wrap up June because I was on the road. I was on this huge long road trip. So let's do this. Let's get in here and do my my June recap, book of the month, go through the things that I read. It looks like a lot of stuff, right? It looks like a lot of books, but a lot of them are short, which was on purpose, right? Just because of all the travel and stuff I had to navigate around. So let's get into it. The first thing that I read that I started the month with was Mercy, Tears of the Fallen. As you guys are watching this video, we are just a few days removed from the official release of this, so go buy it. Go support Chance Dillon, the man, the myth, the legend, the Runeborn, I need to get some more titles. Chance deserves some titles, like Jacob over at Talking Story has 1 million titles. We got to get some for Chance. Maybe that's a good thing in the comments. Give me some good titles for our boy Chance. Nonetheless, Mercy, I had an awesome time with this. I talked about this a lot. If you want to see, my as I was reading this, sort of my reactions as I was going. If you look back through my my sort of weekly update post videos, there's a playlist on my channel for those. I think there is. If you want to just look at those, but you'll see anything where like this is in the thumbnail, right? You'll see that, and I'm talking about it. So I've talked about this quite a bit. So I'll be relatively brief here. I had an awesome time with this. Is it a perfect book? No, right? I think some of the complexity, this is becoming known for its complexity, right? As it should be. This is something that drops you into the world. It's a huge world where you're not given really any help understanding what's going on. You really just have to figure it out on your own, which can be very, very fun and very rewarding as the pieces start to come together, as long as you are patient and wait for those things to come together as you get further and further into the story. For me, my personal taste, I love that. I absolutely love it. But I do need just a tick less of it than what was in the very beginning of this. I need a couple moments to really grab on to why I should care about this character so much, or why this conflict matters so much. Like I need just a couple little hooks to grab onto, right? That this seems like a me problem, right? A lot of people didn't have that issue. So I'm not saying, if you're watching this, don't be scared off, right? It seems like a me thing, but that was just my experience, right? So was it absolutely perfect reading experience? No, but it was awesome. And as I got further and further into it, the more of those things came into place, and it all started to make, more and more sense, and we're good to go, right? This world feels very lived in. It feels like it's got its deep history and lore and all that stuff. One of my favorite things about this, and guys, I can't say this enough. This is one of my favorite things in fantasy as a whole. And when books don't do this, it really bums me out. And Mercy did an awesome job of this. It is the magic is intertwined with the world, its history, the conflict, the characters, the decisions, the ramifications, everything. The magic is woven into all of that. It matters. It's not just there because magic is cool. It matters through everything. I love that so much. So this was a really, really fun read, a killer debut. I can't wait to read book 2. He's already revealed the title. It's called Ill is the Fate, which was pretty cool. And I'm excited to get in and see where this continues to go. Huge thank you to Chance for sending me this early arc of the book. I got my hardcover on the way. By the time you guys are watching this video, it might already have arrived. You'll see it on my my weekly update with book mail stuff. But yeah, man, give this a chance. It's definitely worth your time. Definitely worth your time. Mercy, Tears of the Fallen. Then we got into Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. This is the conclusion of the Skyward series. This is book 4. This is coming off the heels of book 3, which was called Cytonic. It was a struggle for me. I had a really hard time through that book. I almost didn't finish it. The only reason I finished it is because everybody was telling me book 4 is way better, and it's a big return to form. That was true. It's a great note to end the series on. This went back to so many things that I really liked about book 1, and it brought new things, new flavors, new layers, new complexities, new depth, new everything to what we had in book 1, that introduction to these characters. And it really, man, it really put a bow on it in a good way, I think, right? It alleviated a lot of my complaints about book 3. I still think book 3 could be shorter. We could spend less time doing the stuff that it's doing. But I do now firmly believe that it was a necessary book. For a while there, I was like, what was even the point of book 3, right? It's just weird little side quests. Can we just get back to the story? But it did end up mattering a lot for the resolution of this and for the journey of some of the characters in this, and I really appreciated that. So that was good. It ends up being worth it. I'm very glad that I read the series, glad that I pushed through and got to this book, because this was a really good time. And, if you're looking for just a fun, easy, light sci-fi thing with some humor and some surprisingly dark moments here and there, and some, I think, really interesting and, for the most part, very subtly done thematic work, I think this is a fun series, right? Book 3 might be a struggle, but other than that, it was pretty good. You can get through these really fast. They took me forever because I was reading them, 5 pages a day before bed or whatever. But yeah, good time. Glad I read this Skyward series, wrapped up, done and dusted, checked off the list. We had the short stories in the Wars of Light and Shadow by Janny Wirtz. This is really fun. I had a big gap here with no Janny Wirtz books on my schedule, and that really bummed me out. And so I had to put these in there. Just squeeze them in, right? Short stories, pretty easy to squeeze in. These were just fantastic. And this was The Decoy, this was Child of Prophecy, Reigns of Destiny, and Sundered Star. The first 3 you can read after you read Curse of the Mistwraith, and Sundered Star you can read after Warhost of Vastmark, right? And these were awesome. They just, short and sweet, but it was just a taste of Janny's prose, which is just one of my favorite things ever. And that world, which is one of my favorite things ever. All 3 of these revealed they were just good stories, right? Compelling characters, interesting conflict, right? Just good stories. But each one also revealed this little thing. There was either a nugget of information about the main series, or it was a little, almost twist, almost a like, ooh, I didn't think about it that way. That's weird. That changes my perspective on some stuff, right? Like, they all had this moment that was just such a kind of eye-opening experience within these little 30-page stories or whatever, right? So definitely recommend those if you're a fan of the main series. You don't have to read them, but I definitely recommend it. And Sundered Star in particular is going to ruffle some feathers, and it's going to shake some stuff up. It kind of felt, to me, like if my brain is a snow globe, it kind of felt like someone just grabbed it and just shook it up and then put it back down and like, okay, continue this, pick up Fugitive Prince next, right? And like, it's just, it's different, and it was unexpected, completely caught me off guard, but now in hindsight, I'm like, it fits, right? It's really cool. So highly recommend those. I then reread The Gallant, the prequel novella. I had the best time with this reread. And the first time I read it, it was the first thing that I had read from Janny, was The Gallant. And I loved her prose. I loved the style. I loved the world and the characters and everything that was happening. But I will be honest, some of the world building just, went over my head. I didn't understand. I didn't have all the context, right? And it made sense within the context of that short novella. But I wanted more. I wanted to understand more, right? Now, after having read the first 3 books of the main series, I come back to The Gallant, and I have so much more context and so much deeper understanding of some of the things that are going on, and it just made it a more rich reading experience. So that was really cool. Loved going back and revisiting The Gallant, and I could see myself in the future, when I eventually reread it again, because I absolutely will, once I finish the whole Wars of Light and Shadow, coming back to that at that point, I think it's going to be really special and really cool. So I'm looking forward to that at some point. Then we had Lord Fowl's Bane. This is book 1 in the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever. Thomas Covenant, interesting guy. We find him. He is a leper. He is, in my opinion, and I don't think this is a hot take. I think he's clearly depressed and just anguishing about his lot in life. And we find him thrust into this fantasy world, this experience, this, everything is, his whole world is turned upside down, right? And we see him struggle with that, and him struggling with accepting that whether or not this is actually happening or not, right? The unbeliever, he doesn't believe that this is happening. And I picked out some themes in this that I was like, I feel like this is something that might go through the whole series, because it doesn't feel super resolved in this book. And that right now recording this, I'm about a third or so of the way through Ill Earth War, book 2, and those themes have progressed, and I'm like, okay, I feel more confident now that it's going to continue as we go and see this exploration. But Covenant is he's not a good guy, right? He's had a very hard life. He is just tormented by, the cards that he was dealt, right? And his leprosy and his relationship. And there's just so much that, when I put myself in his shoes, I can understand his emotions. I can understand why he acts the way that he does. It's not an excuse. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make him a good person, but it does make it, to an extent, at least understandable, and I can be empathetic with it. And he does some things in this book that are truly horrible, and a lot of people are going to bounce off of this when they get to some of those events, and that's very understandable. And what I will say about that is I do think that Donaldson, as the author, handles it well, especially as you continue into book 2. In book 1, I can see how some people would read this and be like, man, he could have handled that a little bit better. I can see how some people would be satisfied, but I could see how some people would think that. I felt that a little bit, right? I was like, he didn't handle it badly, but I was looking for a little bit more. In book 2, we get a little bit more, to the point where I feel much better about it. But at the end of the day, Donaldson's not trying to make excuses for Covenant either, right? Covenant is not a good person here, right? So he wants that portrayed. At least that's my opinion. But anyway, I do want to get that warning out there, though, that you might bounce off this in that sense. This is, to me, the closest feeling I have gotten from a book that feels like Tolkien, right? It's an older. When was this written? Book 1, originally written 1977. Right, so it's older, so it's going to have that kind of older fantasy feel. It's very dark. It feels like a very dark, twisted, kind of demented classic fantasy, right? We get a lot of the walking and exploring and just experiencing the world and seeing the magic and seeing the creatures and all that stuff and meeting these people. And you got like the people that they're kind of like the wood elves, right? In Lord of the Rings, or they're kind of like the dwarves in their stone and thing. They're not elves and they're not dwarves. It's different. But you're kind of, I guess what I'm trying to describe is you get like these different sort of biomes that you're sort of traveling to and experiencing the world and seeing it grow and seeing how they interact, and you're seeing the conflicts between these different nations and people and stuff. And, you're getting that exploration that I think you get out of a lot of this sort of classic fantasy, but it has this really dark, twisted undertone, not even undertone. Sometimes it's, right on top with, Thomas being a very unconventional main character, and you get introduced to the main conflict right away. And you're seeing how it all just sort of unfolds consequentially from there. And the middle part of this book is pretty slow. There's a lot of walking around, a lot of talking, a lot of just, being there with the characters. But then the end is huge and epic, and so much happens. And, I was so excited to get to book 2, and I'm having the best time. And I like this a whole lot. So impressed with the writing. The prose is beautiful and so fun to read, but it's still very accessible, I think. It's much smoother and easier to read, I think, than like Janie Wirtz's or even like Steven Erikson or Gene Wolfe. Like, I think Gene Wolfe is maybe similar to this in the sense that they're both pretty accessible, but they still have that big sort of epic, classical, old-fashioned, like that, just that feel to it. This is, if dark whimsy is a thing, I think that's some of the feel you get from the prose here. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, Lord Fowl's Bane, awesome start to this series. Absolutely loving this, and really enjoying book 2 right now. So we had that. Then we had While Darkness Gathers, the sequel to the Edan trilogy by Philip Chase. Philip was so lovely to send me this signed copy. I'm so excited to have this. This is just awesome. Look at that. Yeah. And I have the whole matching set on my shelf now, which is so cool. This was great being back in this world. I love the Edan trilogy. I put it in my top 10 series of all time. I stand by that. It's so good. This is a much more, you can see it, it's short, right? It's like, how long is this in paperback? 280 something pages, right? So it's short and sweet. It's very streamlined, it's very focused. But I think because it's so streamlined and focused, you're losing a little bit of the wider, expansive, sprawling world building, deep exploration of all these different things, because you just can't do that in this page count, right? What you gain from this is a much more focused, direct story with a smaller cast of characters. You're not sacrificing, though, any of the depth of their emotion and their journey and their experience. And I think Philip does a fantastic job of still getting in there and accomplishing something very, very resonant in a shorter story. I think that's awesome. If I have learned anything as just in writing in general, right? Just through school, writing essays, through my graduate program, like writing scientific papers especially, or trying to do some creative writing myself, writing long and wordy is way easier than writing very concise. Concise writing is unbelievably difficult, and I think he does an awesome job, and it was so great to be back in Jormungand with these characters and some new ones. That was really, really fun. And then we had the final one, Claw the Conciliator, Book 2 of the Book of the New Sun. The story that is quickly climbing my all-time favorites list. This is certainly top 10 easily at this point, and I'm only 2 books in, and we'll see where it goes. But man, I'm just having so much fun with this. This is part of a big buddy read that we're doing. I did a very close read with Joanna from the channel Joanna Reads. If you are unfamiliar with her somehow, make sure you go subscribe right away. And this was, I don't know, man, it took so much of what I love from book 1. Some of it we didn't get, right? We didn't get the early parts of book 1. You're in a setting that has an atmosphere that is so tangible, so strong, so my thing, right? It feels very gothic and cold and dark, and I love that kind of thing. Right, so you don't really get that as much in here. You get little bits of it, but not as much. So I did miss that a little bit. But the rest of the stuff I liked in book 1 is all here and more so and expanded in book 2. So much weird stuff happens. It's just so, at times, extremely trippy and random and chaotic. But I'll tell you what, if you can read this with a partner or a group or something and just discuss it as you go, it helps so much, because I feel like I caught so much more here than I did my first read through of Shadow the Torturer. Maybe even my second read through of Shadow the Torturer. That here, my first time through Claw the Conciliator, talking with Joanna so much, talking with Sam from I Samwise so much, it just helped me a ton. And I have, I think myself and Joanna sort of together came up with a handful of theories that I'm feeling pretty good about at this point, about what could be going on or what might be to come in later books in the series and things like that. And it's just fantastic. So, it's so good. So we have a big group discussion coming up here. I think that's going to be on the Tudor Ramble channel, that group discussion coming up on this book here, not too distant future. So I'm not going to get too much deeper into my thoughts there. I actually talked about Lord Falsbane more than I probably should have, because we got that's a buddy read with Shay and the aforementioned I Samwise that I should have saved maybe more of those thoughts for that. That's okay. We'll talk about stuff anyway. It'll be fine. Sorry, guys. Okay, so that's it. That's what I read here in June. It was a fantastic month, even though it was a little bit lower on the page count. We got to pick a book of the month, though. So we have Mercy, Defiant, Wars, Light, and Shadow short stories, The Gallant, Lord Falsbane, While Darkness Gathers, Shadow and Claw. Not Shadow and Claw. Claw the Conciliator. Oh, this is tough. Man, Mercy was so great because I got to see the art that Chance created, and it's just amazing. Defiant was a really good end to a series that I've been a little bit up and down on, but overall enjoyed. And endings are fun, so I really enjoyed that. Wars, Light, and Shadow, the short stories were great, especially The Gallant, though, was just, it was so fun to be back in The Gallant and to get so much more context out of it. That was really great. Lord Falsbane, incredible start to the series that I can already tell is going to probably be an all-time favorite, and one of the best written, really complicated characters that I've come across in all of my reading. While Darkness Gathers, so great to be back in the world of the Dan trilogy. Claw the Conciliator, like one of the most fun reading experiences I've had in a really long time. I was deliberating on this before I even sat down to record, to be honest. And I thought that I'd have a decision as we came down to the end here, but I still feel a little torn. You know what? Part of me wants to give it to Lord Falsbane because I'm just so impressed and really, I think it's got to be this. It's got to be Claw the Conciliator. That's what we're doing. Claw of the Conciliator, book of the month for June 2025. This is just, I can't get over, maybe if I had read this completely on my own, it might not have been my book of the month. I might have picked Lord Fowl's Bane, or I might have picked something else. I don't know. But I think talking to friends about this so regularly, literally every day, as we went through one chapter a day, and uncovering these theories that we had and bouncing ideas off each other, and just sort of mutually being like, whoa, I didn't think of that, or like, wow, I totally missed that, you're right, or like, it was so fun. It was so much fun. And I that's just, as a reading experience as a whole, I don't know. This it's tough to beat that, man. It's tough to beat that. So that's what we're doing. Book of the month, Claw of the Conciliator. I cannot wait to have this group discussion coming up. You better believe I'm going to be shouting about that as soon as we have a firm date and time. I will let y'all know, because it's going to be a fun one. Okay, that's what I got. That was my June. Let me know in the comments, what was your June like? What's your book of the month? What's going on? Have you read any of these? What'd you think? I know this is very late. Again, I apologize, but what are you going to do? Such is life with travel, derailing schedules and plans, and that's how it goes. So if you like the video, hit that like button. If you are checking out the channel, you haven't seen much more of my stuff, if you like what I'm doing, you hit that subscribe button. I love seeing the channel grow and seeing the community grow, and meeting more of you guys, having more awesome conversations, not just in the comment section here, but in the Discord. You can see the link there in the description. And let's just keep having a great year, man. I mean, this wraps up June. That puts us halfway through the year, which is unbelievable that 2025 is halfway over. But to be honest, this might be my best reading year of my life, just in terms of enjoyment and growth and making friends and challenging myself to, get into more complicated stories and, things. It's just been awesome. I'm having the best time. Not just with reading, but on BookTube and just with everything. So life is good. Thanks for taking this journey with me, at least insofar as this stuff, right, with BookTube. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.